correction. If you look in the minutes on the condemnation, Courtney, you have a vacant spot, and I think that's supposed to be, we had put Ann Earlbeck in there last year to fill that.
Okay, I'll get that updated.
I mean, you got the sheet right, but it's not in the minutes.
Well, I copied and pasted from last year, so
Okay.
that's probably why.
And I will point out also from last week, we had discussed department head responsibility. We didn't take a vote from that. We put on the church letter. It did say discuss and decide. It's reflected.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Contrary, motion carried. Courtney?
Is it, I think it's on.
Okay.
Red lights on.
Okay, first thing we have is that on the secondary road budget review.
Morning.
Morning, Zach. Hey,
All right.
here's,
Gave you a packet of everything I have, so stop me if you have questions as we go through. But the first sheet I think I left in there was the tax asking, very similar sheet that you've always seen. Basically using the same levy rates as what we have in the past. Showing just over $3.2 million from that, which is up about 66,000 roughly from last year. Anybody have any questions on that?
What's more, I mean, I know.
this is showing the maximum, right? That you.
It is.
Okay.
So this includes everything, wages, everything.
This is just the tax asking. So this is not, nothing from expenditures wise. This is just what we're asking for, because we get revenue from other sources as well.
Yeah, this is just
you have a question,
property
Mike?
tax ask.
That makes sense.
Okay. All right. Next sheet is the revenue. So top line is the auditor's secondary road balance. Second line is the receipt from property tax levies that we just talked about. Go down to line 3, that's our road use tax plus time 21 FM extension dollars. That's just over 4.6 million is what we're expected to receive. That's up about 21,000 from last year. Line 5 is bridge replacement funds. So this is anytime we do a federal project that is off system, we have to front the cost of that bridge or that project and then get reimbursed. So it's an in and an out, but we got to show it on a local level that we're paying it, and then we show it being reimbursed. So this is the reimbursement. If that structure happens in this fiscal year, that's how that would work. So, but we've done, nothing's changed on that. That's the same as it's always been. So. Next is the miscellaneous receipts. This is where our trip permits, the reimbursements from the fuel depot, drain repairs, weed fund, our sale of used equipment and junk, all that falls into that category. Estimating $267,000 for that. So if you look at
Is that drop in fuel depot receipts? Is the bus barn going to have their own setup?
That's what I understand, and that's part of the reason why that's dropping.
That's why I went.
I don't know what the timing is going to be, but
on the board agenda, but I don't know what.
I don't know if it'll be ready by then, but I guess my feeling is I'm going to reduce it, and if we do end up getting more, great. But I don't want to over guess our revenue coming in.
Well, backing up to that road use tax, that's probably the lowest raise that we've had for a long time, isn't it?
It is.
What I was thinking.
Usually that's In the
Anywhere,
$150,000 to $200,000 range.
any reason, explanation for that?
I don't know. I don't know. I did a little bit of looking into it. I know they readjusted some of the factors on the formula. And I think that's what hit us a little bit. You know, it's based off of lots of different things,
How
you
many
know.
gallons are sold in gas?
I think that's part of it. But it wouldn't adjust the factor necessarily. It might affect the total, if that makes sense, but you're right, Gene. It's the lowest that I've seen it from an increase perspective. Shows the total receipts, including the secondary road balance, and then way at the bottom shows the receipts excluding the beginning balance. So, if you notice, that's up a little bit from previous years. The big reason for that, more than anything, is the bridge replacement funds. That's a big number that's sitting in there. So, but
Is that really, that's related to a particular project?
that
right
is,
now?
we'll get into construction, but O2, a bridge down like Steve Michelson, south of Steve Michelson's is the easiest way to locate that one. But any questions on revenue?
No,
Okay, expenditures. As far as first category is administration and engineering. Administration is up around $10,000, basically wages and fringe benefits there. The engineering side of that is up about 45,000 roughly. This is again wages and fringe benefits, but the other reason for a little increase there is I'm expecting a retirement coming up sometime in the near future in our engineering office. Don't know for sure when it's going to be. If it's later this year, within the next 2 to 3 years, I mean, it's somewhere in there. But what I'd like to do is I'd like to start looking for someone to replace that individual and get some training done, because there's a lot of knowledge that's going to walk out the door, and try to get as much as we can to help that new person along, whoever that might be. So what I budget for $40,000 of a tech basically to come in, whether that's a part of a year, whether it's more of a year and we have to do a budget amendment. I wanted to get something in there. I don't have a hard set date on a retirement, and I don't have a hard set date when we're going to get somebody hired, because it's a hard position to fill.
There's a job description already, right?
There is a job description written. I need to update it. I know there's one that's current from the current employees we have, but I need to update it. I just know it's a hard position to fill from even other surrounding counties. They've looked for a long time to fill those positions. So it's it could take some time, I guess, is what I'm getting at. So, but that's why there's an increase shown in that line item. Next category is construction. Probably the best way to go is flip to the next sheet. There should be a sheet that shows granular construction and granular equipment like this. The first block is fiscal year 27 construction. So this is the stuff that we're programming and planning for in fiscal year 27. So anything from this new July to following June that would be let in that period of time. So not all constructed, but let. A21 Goetzer is a bridge that is failing. We put a box in. It's a 2-mile stretch, and the bridge has been done for probably, I'm going to guess, 10 years. We did a box culvert replacement, I believe 3 years ago, I think.
What streets is on?
To point to it on a map, it's between Lanesboro and Litterdale. We do need to get that up. Between Lanesboro and Litterdale, I'll have to look it up and get back to you, Scott. I don't have the road in front of me. But it'd be basically putting an identical box culvert in. It's the same creek that is there before. That's the last one was. It just winds, crosses the road multiple times. So we're estimating 225,000 for that. And again, that would be local money.
Box culvert, you said?
Box culvert, yep. The next two are kind of tied together, N14 diamond grinding and M68 diamond grinding. So this is N14 would be basically from Halber going east and then back north to Highway 30. M68 is the 1 mile of concrete from 141, 1 mile north. So this is something we've had in the plan for quite some time. We did get everything patched. I believe there may be one patch on M68 that we have to do this spring. But other than that, we're ready to go with trying to get that diamond ground and hopefully smooth out a little bit.
So this is where you're patching, getting anticipating for paving then? Is that that?
We did all the patching the last 3 years on that road, trying to get ahead of this. So it was ready to be diamond ground. So,
Dentures.
That'd be good.
so that, again, those are local funds. You'll see those three projects show up in the anticipated 2026 calendar year construction. So those are the three that we're expecting to do this summer. The other ones on this list in the blue that we've going through are still in fiscal year 27, but it would fall to construction year 27 is when those would be done. So the next one there was N33 rehab. That's basically going through the town of Dedham. So starting at where we left off, just south of the bridge north of town to the curve, basically. So we held off on doing that because they were doing a water main project through town there. They are done with that. So
The curve, you mean up to 140?
not to
Right there
141,
by the
just to the
park.
curve,
Into
Right.
the
curve in town.
Southeast corner of the park.
It's the road's better from the curve down to 141. That pavement was done at a different time through town and to the back to the west. So we're just tying into the curve where that's just getting pretty beat up.
Supposed to be summer 27,
Summer of 27,
or
but
that season, yeah, sorry.
correct. But the DOT requires us to have, whenever we're gonna let the project, that's when we have to have it programmed for. So that, again, these will be these local projects that we'll probably end up putting them in the budget for fiscal year 28 as well next year, just because we don't know when that contractor is gonna come in when we let the project. It might be before July 1st, it might be after July 1st, but we have to plan for it, so.
So is any of this project in Dedham, is it, that's strictly all county, or is there gonna be part of that city also?
There will be some of that's the city. That's one of the things we're gonna have a discussion with. I've talked with them briefly about it, but this summer I'll have more discussion with them because it is wide pavement through there. There are some sidewalks that we need to discuss, whether they want to get rid of them or whether they want to replace them. There's just different things that need to be talked about as far as how that's all gonna fit.
So that
together.
won't affect their current budget they're preparing now? You think they should be looking at that already?
Potentially, but realistically, the money's not gonna be spent more than likely, and the reimbursement, because we would do the project and they would reimburse us.
Okay.
So that, I don't think that would probably happen in fiscal year 27 anyway. That'd be fiscal year
Alright, alright.
28 is where I'm.
I'm just saying we need to let
Yep.
them, so they
Absolutely.
get in their budgets too. Okay.
Correct.
Good
Correct.
enough.
It'll be up to them to decide if they want parking, if you pave all the way where their parking is now.
It'd be a conversation we have with them. Next project is M68 HMA resurfacing. This is the bigger project that uses our STBG funds and some farm to market funds. But this would be going from the north city limits of Arcadia north to Sac County, the Sac County line. That would not use local funds for that project. So really not part of this budget, but it's part of construction. So I wanted to make sure we showed that.
And the 101.5 is what, from STBG?
Yep, that's what we're looking to use from the STBG money, and then the balance would be from the FM account.
And you think they'll be bid when? Or let,
Basically a year from now, January, February of 27 is my guess.
Okay.
And we'll probably, all these asphalt projects will be it's somewhat in the same timeline. We're not gonna tie them together because we want the federal project to stand alone. We don't want to federalize our local projects for obvious reasons. 185th Street is the next one on the list there. That would be going east out of Arcadia, like past the Ball Diamond and then back south to Highway 30. Again, on that one, that's another one where that first half mile is the city of Arcadia's responsibility. They do know that. They know that this is in the works. Be the same thing where that'd be a reimbursement for that first half mile.
And I'm supposed to be there to council meeting to reassure them of that again tonight, so.
One more asphalt project on the list here is N20, HMA resurfacing. This is from the east of Breda, from the E16, the Breda Blacktop, going north up to the Sac County line. There's 2 miles there. That's starting to deteriorate pretty fast as well.
That's real
The center line's had some issues where it's wanting to break apart. So,
Back up a little bit, that 185th, that includes the half mile going south back to 32, doesn't
correct. Yep.
Okay.
So the N33 in Dedham, the 185th Street and N20, all 3 of those are going to be local projects with local dollars.
So N20 is basically Hawthorne.
Yep. And then here's the bridge that we talked about that we're using, the O2 bridge replacement. That's the one of the,
Excuse me.
bless you,
That's you.
that we need to use. We're going to use our HPP dollars for, our federal aid bridge dollars for. So, again, the reason why this one's in there is federal aid money, but we have to expend it and then we'll get reimbursed those dollars 100%. So. Whatever.
That's the Michelson Bridge.
That is the Michelson Bridge. I'm going to continue down on this sheet a little bit. It's not, we're not quite to it in the budget part of it, but at least you can see what we're looking at for fiscal year 27 granular. We're estimating $100,000 for crushed concrete. So that'd be crushing our piles of crushed concrete. $400,000 for limestone and $800,000 for gravel.
Are those delivered? Or are you going up and hauling?
Most of that is hauled ourselves. We haul our own. Limestone, we will probably do a contract again, like we usually do every winter. We'll do a smaller contract to have someone haul in some over the winter. So there'd be a little bit that would be hauled by other forces, but most of all that is hauled by our own forces. All the gravel has been. We haven't done contract graveling for like 5 years. I don't know if we've done it. I don't think we even did. Maybe the first year I was here, or the last year before I came, maybe. So, as far as equipment goes,
On that gravel, what do you usually spend on that a year?
it's about in that neighborhood, anywhere from 700,000 to $1 million. Just kind of depends.
How are you sitting right now on gravel?
Decent. We do have gravel at a few different locations. We're not sitting bad. It's just a matter of trying to, I guess, keep up on it, and it doesn't seem like it never gets cheaper. So it's a matter of, depending on where the normal contractor that we use for crushing our gravel is going to be going, and what pit we were looking to go into. Kind of depends a little bit too on where what it is for that upcoming year. Fiscal year 27 equipment. What we're looking at is 2 motor graders for this year. We're getting to where we're getting a lot of hours on a lot of our mainline machines. I think the 2 that we're looking at would be moving to a wintertime machine would be, they're over 11,000 hours each. So just trying to stay up on that before it catches up with us. Start losing a transmission or an engine and things can go awry pretty quick. So that's what's the majority of the equipment budget for fiscal year 27.
2 trade-ins in,
We would trade into.
and out of which sheds, do you know?
They would be actually spare ones that aren't being out of a shed, because they would all rotate through. Next, go ahead.
You think we have to do 2 this year, though?
I think we do because there's 2 more motor graders that have over 9,000 hours. So I think it's one of those things where we're okay on trucks, and I think motor graders is the next thing that we have that's going to cause us issues or potentially could cause issues. I mean, you never know what's going to bite us, I guess, but typically when we get over that 10,000 hour mark, we like to try to slow down the use a little bit.
I know
And-
normally we get 1 a year, but I know in the past we have, every once in a while have to play catch up. So,
Right.
Yeah.
Right. The other major item in 27 is replacing one of our belly dump trailers as well. It's starting to see some issues that want to get ahead of that as well. So and we'd be trading in or selling outright the current one we have that we want to
So
get rid
this is
of.
a replacement then.
It'd be replacing one. Yep, not adding
That
one.
was
but-
my question, because I didn't see that. You're
Yep.
adding, and I didn't see another tractor, so.
Right, right. And then the other item is getting a couple different grade all attachments. One is a pavement removal bucket that is better suited for removing pavement. It doesn't have quite as much wear and tear on our ditching bucket. It's a longer bucket. It's better for popping out those sections of pavement. I think it'd be very handy. The other is a tree cutting attachment that would go on the boom for us to help work on maintaining vegetation in the right of way. So a total of just over $900,000 in those items.
What was last year, do you remember?
I think we ended up a little over $1,027,000 is what we ended up spending.
That was the motor grader and
Motor grader, 2 trucks, 2
We had a trailer, a
Skid loader
skid loader
trailer.
trailer in there.
did you, and
And
did
I
you
think
have
we had
an end loader in there too?
That was the year before, I think, wasn't it? I'd have to look, Gene. I might have it here if you want me to look, but
That's fine.
we had a pickup as well.
Huh?
We had a pickup as well.
Yeah, that's right. Okay,
And the fiscal year 28 stuff, those are just placeholders at this point of, we'll see what we need next. I'm not sure what it's gonna be, but I guess the point is that it doesn't stop coming, I guess, unfortunately. Okay, back to the expenditure budget, under roadway maintenance. For the whole category, we're up about $96,000 for roadway maintenance, which is about 2.6%. Wages, fringe benefits, and granular went up a little bit from last year on that. Went down on a few items. We went down on bridges a little bit by about 9,000. Pipe culverts, we went up about 7,000. Blading up about 12. Granular was up a little over 100. Down on our PCC patching. Well, since we got the Halber Road completed, we'll be doing a little less PCC patching. We still definitely have some to do, but without that road, it will be significantly less. Down on our seating. Our entrances have been going up, building those, and then up in signs. So that's I guess the major categories that have went up or went down in roadway maintenance. Next one is general roadway. We went down about 59,000 in this category. New equipment was down about 71,000. Our mechanic labor is up about 60. Reason why I'm doing that is the new person that we hired to do weed commissioner and be a mechanic. The last person that was doing our weed commissioner duties was doing other equipment operator duties, not as a mechanic. So there's his wages that would have been being paid throughout all of roadway maintenance and other general roadway stuff is gonna be going now towards the mechanic side when he's not doing the weed commissioner stuff. So that was part of it. The other part was just adjusting for the amount of hours that our mechanics are putting in work for just doing their normal work that they're doing for fixing equipment. Outside services, that is going down about estimating 15,000. Again, with another mechanic or partial mechanic in, we're hoping that we'll be doing more stuff in-house and shipping out less stuff. Gas at the fuel depot, I've shown going down about 30,000. Diesel in our shop going down about 50. We've had that up. It was up quite a bit higher based on diesel prices and everything else. So I'm pulling that back down a little bit. I'm a little leery to go too far just because you never know what might change there. It seems like it's a very volatile number. Diesel at the fuel depot, I'm pulling down 30,000 as well. Going up on blades. And then also going up for our shop in Carroll, the in-floor heat that we have, the boiler is 26 years old and starting to show its age. It's still functioning, but it was recommended that we start looking into replacing that, and that's about a $50,000 item. So up on that category.
Okay.
So altogether, total expenditures were just over 12.3 million. You'll see that is up about 3 million from last year, but you'll also notice it's all of that dollars is in construction. And a lot of that, 1.3 million of that is the bridge that we're going to be getting reimbursed. There's also projects that are counted in 26 and 27, like the diamond grinding. There's over $1 million worth of projects that have been budgeted twice per se. So there's going to be $1 million there that's not going to be spent either in 26 or 27. We just have to account for it in 27. So
Well, in Arcadia, that's $4 million there.
right. That one doesn't show up in this number because it's not being paid for locally.
Okay.
But those other projects, I mean, it's very easily 2.5 million that is really not part of the local budget, even though it's not going to get spent, I guess is the way I'll put it. But we have to show for it and account for it.
Like grinding on schedule, like on the books ready or not?
We're finishing up the plans.
Yeah.
And then we're planning on getting it let. I don't know if it'd be a February or March letting somewhere in there, but it'd be a local letting. So it's not through the DOT. We're on schedule to get it let in that timeline.
Yeah.
So
Any further questions or just continue?
kind of the last thing on that, after you take the expenditures and what we have for receipts, it shows our carryover balance of just under 1.9 million, which again, that will be higher than that based on what we just talked about. But I think that's still a very reasonable place to be. I don't think we're in a bad place right there, I guess. That's one of the biggest things I look at is trying to make sure that we're staying ahead of the game when it comes to that. So. Any questions on that? I know I threw a lot of stuff at you fast there. The next sheet that I included, if you have any questions, is the individual line items of all the stuff of where all this stuff comes from. I wasn't planning on going through all this. If there's something that you want to look at specifically, we can. But I wanted to give you the information so you could look at it. But basically, I was summarizing where that all came from.
Any questions on that part?
Nope, I looked at it already.
Okay.
Thanks.
The next couple sheets I have is showing wage comparisons. The first sheet, I believe, is showing surrounding counties. There's two separate tables, I guess, on the first page. One with Audubon County, one without Audubon County. The next sheet that I have shows for counties with similar population. That one shows, I took out Washington County, as has been discussed in the past about not wanting to show that as a comparable. I feel a little bit the same way about Audubon County when it comes, because they're a 12 township county. They don't have as much area as what we do. And I don't know that that's a fair comparison, but I did include a table with Audubon and without, just so you can see the differences. The two, I guess, categories that I really like you to focus on is the operator wage, which is all of our secondary road staff, and our maintenance superintendent. Those are the two that I feel are the biggest behind, would be the best word to use. To get to the average wage of those surrounding counties, including Audubon, we'd have to have a 3.5% raise, or 3.1% raise, excuse me, above COLA, just to get to the average. If you take out Audubon, that jumps to 4.8%. Every county around us is higher in operator wage other than Audubon.
I know you can't answer this question, Zach, but is there comparables for benefits? Other counties that have the same typical benefits we have?
I think it's in the same ballpark. At one point, I know Audubon had better healthcare.
Sometimes they range on the 80-20 or 85-15.
I'm just curious of what they got.
Most counties have similar benefits.
I think Audubon pays us full single.
They used to. I don't know if they still do, Gene. They might. I don't know if they.
Oh, yeah, they're 100%.
Yeah.
They were, and they still might be. So that's one
No,
reason
that-
why their wage is a little lower. I don't know.
So you
but,
do know better than I do. I just was curious whether
Yep.
what the benefit.
But in general, I think they're comparable. I won't say they're the same, but I think they're comparable.
Okay,
So you're saying the two you want is the operator and then the superintendent?
The superintendent, and you notice there, it'd be a 5% raise above COLA to get to the average. You take out Audubon, it's 7.5%. If you flip to the wage comparison with similar population, it's pretty similar, a little bit higher yet for the operator wage. It takes 6.5% to get to the average. And 3.5% for the maintenance superintendent. And I guess my concern there is that, we do have good staff, and I want to retain the staff that we have, and I don't want them looking elsewhere. And this shows me that we're behind the 8 ball and we need to try to catch up.
Zach, did you figure, is there 35 operators? How many operators do you have? I'm just saying the overall.
About 28. If you look on the sheets, it shows the number of maintenance employees. I listed that for the other counties as well. We have 28.
Thank you.
I think that would include the maintenance superintendent, I believe.
And for yourself?
And that's just for the 2.8 that everyone else is asking for. I know one of them doesn't show much for an increase, the other one shows quite a bit. I'm more concerned about my staff at this point. Next sheet kind of shows as well I have estimated for our current payroll for our secondary road staff. What the 2.8% raise would cost. What the additional 3% that I'm proposing would cost. And then as well as what the fringe benefits would cost. This sheet.
Yeah, I didn't get that Friday. Okay.
That's hot off the press, so I apologize for that, Scott.
Well, that's what I was trying to get to, was figuring this out. Thank you.
And then I show the total increase, what the 2.8% what does for fringe benefits and the payroll. And then again, for the additional 3%, what that would cost. And then went through the same numbers for the maintenance superintendent. What I'm asking there is a 5% to try to get caught up.
So for maintenance superintendent, you're asking 5
2.8 plus the 5.
plus 5.
7.8.
And our secondary road staff, I'd be asking the 2.8 plus 3. I know it's a hard ask, but I don't want to see us keep falling behind further. I feel like it's going to be a detriment to our department. I feel like we should be in that. There's no reason we couldn't be or shouldn't be close to the average of our surrounding counties. I feel like we do as good a work or better as our surrounding counties. So I feel like they should be paid accordingly.
Any further questions, comments at this time?
One other note on this too, overtime is not included in these numbers. That's a variable that it's all based on Mother Nature. I mean, and really more than anything else, it's the timing of Mother Nature. If it happens on weekends, that's obviously.
Well, the one that
deal.
probably puts the most overtime is probably Chris, isn't it? Because he goes out and checks the roads in advance and stuff
Correct.
like that.
Is
he the only one? Does that rotate at all, or is it just?
he's the one that does it. Unless he's not there, then we have other designees that will go out and fill those.
'Cause he's,
those
like I
roles.
said, he's probably the one that's got the most overtime, I'd say.
He is.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, again, we will be taking this into consideration.
Thank you. There's one last sheet that's not really part of this budget, but from the rural services fund for the weed commissioner side. That's the last sheet in your packet.
Oh, okay.
This one here.
Mhm.
Not really, I'm not asking for any changes on that. Budgeting for the same things. I don't see the dollars changing with a new person stepping into this role. The only thing that we'll have for the current year that we're in, and I think we'll be able to handle it, is that we did buy some new manuals, updated manuals for him to review, to be able to take his test. And there'd be a testing fee as well to get certified to be a certified pesticide applicator.
Is that the rate we always paid the weed commissioner?
That's where them dollars came from. They get the big number from the chemicals and gases, the herbicide, that gets transferred to our department. And then
No,
and
I'm
it
talking
get-
about salary.
the salary. That salary always comes out of our department.
But is that, the weed commissioner portion was just $1,500?
I think that was for part-time. If we ever hired a part-time person to help out, is
Oh,
what that
okay.
was for. That wasn't for the main weed commissioner person.
Doesn't the
Okay.
state give us 25,000?
It was
Yeah.
five.
Yep, that's the portion that goes towards the actual weed commissioner payroll that we pay out of our budget.
State pays us 25,000, we pass it through to you.
I don't know that the state pays it. It comes from
No.
the rural.
Okay.
The rural
It's
funds.
rural.
Okay,
It's property tax dollars.
all right, thank you.
I was
Is
thinking
that
it's
25,000 the chemical part of it? Or is it the labor part?
I think it's both. I mean, it goes towards both. Because we pay for. The rural services fund doesn't separately pay for all the chemicals that we use or his payroll. All that comes out of our department. So that's the I guess the payment to our department for handling his salary as well as all the materials.
Yeah.
Chemicals that he buys.
So this is your administration.
Well, it's going directly towards him, but
Yeah. Okay,
any other questions on any of it?
okay, thank you, Zach.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next we'll have County Attorney Kurt.
Morning, Kurt.
Right.
Morning, Kurt.
So I've never done one of these before, so bear with me. I tried my best.
Do we have copies? Oh, I got one. Yeah, that's right.
Provided a copy to Scott. Courtney,
We forwarded on.
for today. Just one slight change. I noticed a mistake I had made. You look at, and I'll get to it, and it's not it doesn't change the numbers, it's just a statement mistake. So really quickly, the top portion is just the revenue. Those are revenues that come from the judicial branch. There's also other fees that show up. One of the additional fees we had this year, for instance, we had a intern come in for part-time. It was a 3L from Drake. Obviously, we're always trying to get attorneys into this area. It's very difficult. He decided not to come to Carroll, but we're still trying. We have another person we're going to be meeting with next week, who would also like to do an internship. So there might be some of those funds as well. I kept those numbers roughly the same because they fluctuate. And I kind of went back through, I actually looked at about 4 years prior, just to kind of figure out what happened. I think it fluctuates over time. The next piece is the salaries. I didn't know exactly how to do this. I was talking to Courtney, and so I'm going to explain this because it might be confusing. I know Scott said it was confusing when he looked at it. So essentially, my understanding is the salaries regular employees, that's my salary. Last year, it's at 97,789. If you remember, I took over for John Gordon when John passed last year, and what his salary was anticipated to be was then passed on to me. The first line is just the cost of living adjustment of a 2.8. Just so you know, that would be the cost if you just gave a 2.8% increase on that amount. The next line below is an additional 5.43. Essentially, how I determine this, I went through, I looked, the County Attorneys Association provides information to us about about what the salary ranges are for various county attorneys throughout the state of Iowa. I just actually only pulled the part-time county attorney salaries, and then I did a spreadsheet to kind of figure out exactly what that is. When I look at the part-time county attorneys, Carroll is actually the highest population county attorney position. The next one closest to us would be Winnebago. They're 96% our size, and then it keeps going down. When I tried to look at salaries, what I did is I took the top 4 that were closest to basically anybody that was 80% of our total. So everybody's smaller than us, but it's 80% above. There was a range between those. For instance, Winnebago, they pay their county attorney $100,973. That was for last year. Clayton County, which is 82%, pays $101,294. Iowa County pays $101,739. Fayette pays $116,000. They're 93%. So essentially, I tried to keep it close. So what I did, just so you understand, I assumed that my salary last year should have been $102,000. If you late base it off of what these people have in these other bigger counties, obviously not bigger, closer counties, we're the biggest. So I put $102,000, and then I added a 2.8 COLA on top of that. So that's where you get that additional amount. So basically, if you do the numbers, it would be if you were starting at $102,000 and adding in cost of living adjustment 2.8. But I wanted to give you the different numbers because I'm not sure exactly how you guys figure out salaries. I assumed if I was consistent with what everybody else made last year, and then I had a cost of living adjustment, that's what it would be. I did something very similar with the salaries of the regular employees. If you look at the first line, that's just a 2.8% cost of living adjustment based on the old salaries. What I did, Aaron Aronson, who is the assistant county attorney here in Carroll, Aaron makes approximately $81,125. All the counties that I listed before have higher numbers. The one that's closest is 85. So essentially, it's 85,827. So I just essentially what I did is I added another $4,000 onto Aaron's, and did a cost of living adjustment on that. So if you would assume that his salary should be 85,000, which is closer to kind of where other
But
counties
he's still
are.
staying at 85% of yours. Is that where you want to keep him?
Yeah,
Okay.
essentially.
So he's 85, he is 85% of your salary.
Well, I don't know if it was exactly 85.
It
but I
is.
kept it
Yeah,
off.
it's 85.
Then, as far as all the staff, essentially, here's my argument on that. Take it for what it's worth. When John was living, Jim Millen did, a lot of the, what you call the video transfer. In the world we live in, especially with the criminal aspect to it, there's a lot of body cam, there's a lot of video, it needs to be processed and stored. Jim doesn't work for us anymore. What we did is we bought some new software that incorporates those things, and then I rearranged the workload. So all of the staff are working more, but they're being paid the same. So essentially what I'm asking for is 3,000 for each one of those. And that, if you look, would total that additional amount. Okay,
Courtney, question for you.
yeah,
Why, no, Courtney, why isn't Aaron in with the same salary line as Kurt?
Because John wanted it separate.
Can we combine
You-
those two? It would be easier for next year's budget.
It would make more sense to have,
you can make a separate line item if you want, it's fine.
Well, I think if they were combined, it would make it easier.
Well, even separate, would be,
Okay, I don't care. Yeah,
I think
okay.
separate maybe.
But having Aaron blended in with the regular, when he's a percentage of your salary, it's
Sure.
tough to figure these numbers.
That's fine. I just didn't know which one to do. Like I said, I'm just doing this for the first year.
Yeah.
The next two, I think those are zeros because that actually goes down below. So don't worry about those FICA ones and those and the IPERS that's actually listed below. The next one was group insurance. Initially, when I got the budget request that I needed to do it, Courtney indicated that 5% was going to happen. Then I talked to her recently. She said that there's no anticipated increase in insurance. So I did not add that in there. However, I did kind of calculate based off of like I divided what we had paid before and then kind of extrapolated. There was a small amount that we were behind, and you'll notice it's like $57 increase. And I think that just keeps us on line with what we should be. General office supplies. This number I kept the same. I'm not saying it can't be lower. I'm still trying to figure out exactly what comes through there. I think some of what happened in that general office supplies, I know it comes, it's like paper, it's toner, it's all those things. There's some additional things that we may not be using anymore. We use a little bit of it. CDs is kind of what Jim was using before. So we basically put all of the video on CDs and we transfer to attorneys. And then we still need to use it a little bit because the CDs need to go into court files, but we don't use it as much. Now what we've kind of transitioned to is Dropbox. And so we're now actually just sending it to them and links. Most of the attorneys that we work with are on board with that. Some of them still request the CDs. So I anticipate this number could go down, but I kept it the same just because I don't know. I'm looking at what we did and we paid the year that John died or last year we had about $7,500 in expense. Right now, it looks like it's going down. I just kept it the same, but it's not. I'm not to say that we've actually spent all that money, but that's kind of where I'm at with that. Shredding and utilities. I actually changed that. It used to have rent on there. Obviously, as you know, we took rent out of that. What goes into this right now is just the shredding that we use. We use secure shred to shred all of our papers. Obviously, there's a lot of confidential documents that need to be taken care of. And then the additional utilities. So part of it is that the portion of the utilities that the county office use or the utilities, they used to be paid and wrapped into the rent. Now they're just paid out, right? Based on what I anticipate, I think that number dropped a little lower than what it was anticipated when we amended the budget when I got in. So that's going down to 5,000. Postage and mailing, I increased that to 500. I looked historically, it seemed what John would do is he would buy a lot of postage every 2 years. So what I'm looking at is I'm saying, well, let's keep it at 500. I think that should be relevant because we're not mailing out as many CDs. I don't think the postage is going to reach, essentially if you kind of divide it out, it was about a little over $600 a year. I don't think it's going to be that high, but I know we're getting low on postage now. So I just added $500 for postage. That's just quite literally stamps. And employee mileage and substance. I don't anticipate that to be high. John went to a lot more conferences than I do. I'm quite frankly just busy. In fact, busier now than I've ever been. I don't do as many of those things. I left it at about $600. Nothing's been spent this year. There might be some later on in the year, but I think that can go down. So it doesn't need to be at that $2,500 or $50 level. Telephone expense, quite frankly, that's just the phones for the office. And the actual expense is closer to that 4,500. So that did increase. I just used the actual bill that we get. Educational and training. This is just basically for attorney training and then also stays for that. I put that at 3,000. I don't know if we'll spend all of that, but I'd like to see Aaron get to a county attorney training. He hasn't gone to one yet. I think it's important, so I kind of left some additional monies in there. May not all be spent, depends on whether Aaron wants to go through that or not. Let's see. Legal, court, and county attorney fees. 1 second. I don't know what that's for. And I apologize. Give me 1 minute.
You added 950 to it.
I actually got all the information of the spending, so I kind of went through the budget. Oh, yeah. So that's mostly software. So we actually pulled some of the software out of it that we're using. That's kind of where Box is paid from. So those are fees that come from there. So that's why that one is at 3,000. The legal court and juvenile restitution. I think, and I'm not exactly sure, I think that's just in case I need something when I have a juvenile court case and I need outside funds. If I've looked in the last 5 years, we haven't spent any money out of it. I left it at $1,000 just in case. I think that's a good number to set it at. I know in years prior it had been higher. So that's kind of where that's at. Office data processing, that additionally is just software fees that we pay. That amount is $7,000 or $3,750. Once again, a lot of the software we're doing is just to kind of supplement what Jim was doing to try and transition that in. Dues and memberships are just basically membership fees. I think this one is for the Iowa Bar Association or the Iowa County Attorneys Association. That's $650. Investigation and contracts. You'll note that used to be where Jim Mullins' pay generally came from. Obviously, that's substantially dropped, and I even dropped it from the $10,000 from last year. Basically, the only thing I paid for out of this was internships. And the internships, we actually get payment from the state. Basically, the state pays us to take internships on. So actually, whatever number comes out of there is going to actually be reflected as income revenue from the miscellaneous. And the one intern we had last year, this summer, was $1,300. He worked part-time. The one that we're talking to now, I'm not sure if he's going to want more than part-time, so that's why I left it at 3. But once again, any money that is expended out of that number is going to come out of additional revenue that we have anyway. And then office equipment and furniture, I just left that at 0. Any equipment or anything necessary that actually comes out, I'm taking it out of a different pool, essentially.
On that legal and court for juveniles, you said there hasn't been anything for 5 years.
There hasn't, but I think it's just, and I don't know exactly what it's for. I think it's just a budget item, just in case I need like an attorney for some additional payment, or if I need a guardian ad litem. That's the only thing that I could think of.
Would you supervisors be in favor of putting like $100 online and do a budget amendment if we have one?
I think we've got a couple of them. We could almost do that on.
Because why budget for it if we haven't used it in 5 years? You know what I mean?
It's fine. Like I said, I'm not sure exactly.
What's your guys' thought?
Budgets.
No, I
Yeah,
agree.
just do a budget amendment.
No,
That's
no problem budgeting that.
Yeah.
I don't either. You know, because there's excess money when we need it for stuff like
Sure,
that.
that's fine. So like I said, I haven't seen anything for it. Like I looked from, I mean, I know this budget goes back to 2023, 2024, but I actually looked back.
Farther. Yep.
And I hadn't seen any money that was utilized for it.
Yeah.
And like I said, you could probably adjust if you wanted to, the supplies down a little bit.
I think that should come down from the 8,000.
But like I said, I just don't know. That's
Exactly.
why I left it there.
But I don't want to overtax if we don't have to. is
No,
one thing.
it's okay. Like I said, it's just kind of what I've seen.
So you guys
I
are
think it
saying,
should be like 3,000.
you want to eliminate that juvenile one then?
Well, I want to eliminate it
I would eliminate it.
completely.
I would put like $100 on that line and, you know, and if we did office supplies, cut that in half, to like $4,000 for now.
I think that's fine.
Anybody agree with that?
I do.
I was gonna go $3,000, but I'm fine with 4.
And then we'll just see what it, I mean,
And if you do.
he
need that
used,
money.
John used a lot of it in the previous 2 years, them office supplies, but I don't know, you
But
know.
once again, I think a lot of that had to do with Jim's supplies. that he
Supplies.
needed to do with.
Yeah.
That's why I didn't know. So
Yeah.
my plan was to run through this year, see what we have,
Yep.
and then make an adjustment for the next year. But if you want to make an adjustment this year, that's fine.
Maybe go to 4 on that, and then if it's way low again, we'll go
Yeah,
down.
let's not get, yeah,
But you can knock $5,000 out there between those two, basically.
that's fine.
Okay.
But just remember, you're always welcome to come back and do the budget amendment.
Well, if I need money, I'll.
Some people think it's a sin to have to do it. And it's like, you don't even have to
care.
show up. You just have
No.
to give the paperwork.
We'd rather, in my eyes, I'd rather do that than tax people for money we don't need, you know?
Okay. So then the next line is like, this is actually where I made the mistake. If you look on the side, it says 2.8 and then it goes down to 5.43. Where those 5.43 and those 5.68, that's actually all the additional increases would include my salary and the other people's salary, so that, or my staff salary. So essentially, if you just give the 2.8, that's the cost adjustment. If you give the additional amount for all of the increases in wages, that's the additional amount for FICA and then IFRS. Does that make sense? And I apologize. I was just trying to make it easier for you to look at. Then the last one, the district court revenue, this is essentially what comes from our forfeitures. So this is like we do a payment plans to try and obtain money from individuals who are behind. We do quite a lot of them. In our office, I try and get people to drive legally. So a lot of it is most people don't know how to fix their problems. So then we work with them to try and get that, but that does generate income for us. And then as far as the rest of it, legal and court related services, I hadn't seen any money coming out of that fund, so I put that at 0. Dues and memberships, that looks like it's the national county attorney's amount, so that's why that's at 375, which is pretty consistent. It's like 371 every year. And then the office equipment and furniture. Last year I did, we had extra money in the budget. And John was anticipating doing computers this year. What I did is I actually bought computers last year, so we're good on that. The only additional amount that I have is just in case I need printers. It looks like it's kind of going down, so I budgeted $3,000 from that, but that would be the only thing. But $10,000 from this year, I don't think, unless I decide to buy the printers this year, I don't think there'll be much there. So that's it.
So
Questions on anything?
going back to you want your base salary to be 102 plus the 2.8.
Right.
Thank you. As far as the comp board goes is why I was asking clarification on that.
To be quite frankly, Scott, this job takes a lot more time than I anticipated.
I think you have a fitness plan. You just park here and walk to your office because your vehicle's always here.
So that's just, but I wanted to be fair, so I
Yep.
looked at what
No.
was done. in
I just
other
needed a
counties,
firm number is what I was at.
And that was the number.
Okay,
Thank you for doing that.
Okay,
That's nice.
any questions?
I don't
Yeah,
think
because
anybody's accusing
I
you
looked
of
on ISAC
underperforming.
stuff, well, I think Scott did too. We looked
Yeah,
at
I've got
ISAC.
the averages, yeah. And you quoted down to the penny exactly Fayette County, the ones you quoted, the 116.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Well, they give us the
We've got it right
information,
here.
so I just
Yep.
pulled it all, and then I did a spreadsheet, and I'm like, all right, where are we with White County? Well, we're the biggest part-time one, not by much, but we are.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's some that are making quite a bit more, but once again, they also, some of them don't have assistants, some of them do, some of them have 2. You know, so I basically just I tried to be fair. I know obviously the budget's a big issue, but.
when I emailed you, I was looking for your rationale sheets, what I
Yeah.
wanted, but
Oh, and I can give you more information. if
you explained it thoroughly
No,
to me
you
right
did.
now.
Yeah, it's good.
I just wanted it beforehand if I could.
And then in the future, I can provide that information. I just didn't know what.
You did good.
So I didn't know what you needed, so.
You did good for the first time.
Did very good, yes,
I appreciate that.
thank you.
Anything else you need? Okay, I'm gonna get back to work.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kurt.
Okay. I think next is Courtney.
No, the.
Oh, wait, Highway 30 request. This is a request from Highway 30 Auto Tour, an app request, and a request one, $500.
So, I
This
asked
would be,
Courtney to
this
put-
would be, would fit in probably in our nonprofits, right?
well, I asked Courtney to put it on the agenda, but they sent it to all of us.
Yeah.
And I like to respond to them, but I did go to the website and look at it, and I also reached out to Highway 30 Coalition Director, and he thought it should be privately fundraised instead of county tax dollars. I just wanted to get everybody else's opinion. Just, I think one of us owes whoever sent this a response.
I don't really get what they're doing.
Well, I went to the, did you go to their link?
No.
I did, and it's not all the way filled in, but there's 13 counties, and I think they want to populate everyone where the stopping points are in each county, historic markers, whatever, along Highway
For
30.
people that follow 30 and give them where, yeah.
Like, didn't you do Route 60?
Tourism,
Yeah,
where
yeah.
tourism
Yep.
spots should be at and stuff like that. I think it's,
Oh, switch camera.
It's an audio app. They're saying, yeah.
I mean, if you click, if you go back and look that letter and click on the link. But after hearing what I heard, I don't know that we need to entertain this.
I'm a no.
something to use.
The one problem with it is in the bottom, it says it's your $500 investment in 26. So I feel like the minute you say yes, they'll be back.
Well, the way I read
I like
it,
the
I
idea
took it
of
as a
private
one.
fundraisers doing it. If it's gonna help a business or whatever,
Yes.
let them come to Carroll County and hit some of the businesses up
Mhm.
along
Yeah.
Highway 30.
I agree.
But I took it as a one-time fun. I don't think this is an annual request.
I don't know. Well, that's,
'Cause I think they-
everybody
usually-
says that till they're back the next year, but.
Yeah.
But in there it says.
It
in
looks like they're
26
trying to get the money to do the project.
App once.
Says it can be privately fundraised and really doesn't bring much in the way to Carroll County, just my 2 cents. So I'm agreeing with that.
I'm still a no.
So I'll make a motion that we decline this letter and I'll respond to them. This,
Thank you, Scott.
their second.
Is there a second? Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Contrary? Motion carried.
Who's gonna send that email?
You will.
Okay, next is fiscal 27 budget discussion. Courtney,
Okay. So I sent a couple different spreadsheets, hoping that that would kind of make more sense to everybody. So hopefully you got a chance to look at that.
okay,
When I put in everybody's expenditures and revenues, I did put in everybody's asks for the year. So I know there was several departments that had asks above and beyond the 2.8. So I wanted you guys to see what the most expensive option would be, so you could kind of see where you're at and then go from there. Obviously, I could have done it the other way too, but this includes everybody's asks, also includes all the nonprofits, level funding from last year, that kind of stuff. So you can see the general basic, our fiscal 27 levy looks to be, and keep in mind, this is set by the state, so we can't go above this. And I don't recommend going below it, but it's $3.34 roughly. Last year it was about $3.44. So it is down a little bit. Property tax dollars would be up just a little bit for a difference of $237 and $237,365.
Wait, where'd you get that from, Courtney?
The difference of the property tax dollars.
it's in the middle there.
Page.
Okay, and then moving more to the right, I have the ending fund balance of the general fund at 2,079,000 roughly. We talked a little bit about what you should have in reserves. Recommendations are anywhere from 15 to 30%. Obviously, that's a pretty big gap. You can see 15% would be about 1.6 million and 30% is all the way up to 3.3. We generally have not been around the 30% ever. I think we usually are around the 15 to 20%, which is probably where you want to be, in my opinion. Moving down to the supplemental, there again, the levy proposing about 21 cents. Last year it was 35 cents. The main difference there is I moved the property and liability insurance. I put that back in the general because we had reserves to spend down, and we can go back and forth with that. It's roughly about $400,000, give or take. But taking that out and then just having the normal expenses in there, we're asking for, let's see, short of 212,977. So that went down significantly, but basically expense was just moved above, if that makes sense. There again, the ending fund balance and supplemental, 112,404. To have 15% in reserves, you'd want around 97, 30%, 195. So I thought that one looked pretty good. Debt service, that one, you don't really need to worry about reserves because there's only one bill that comes out of that as a loan. We had a little bit left over from the year before, so I was able to lower that levy just a little bit in order to make the payment, $44,055 difference more. So then rural, you can see there was no limitation for us this year, so it's $3.95, which is significantly higher than last year's levy of $3.22. That's going to generate $751,080 more in tax dollars to get us an ending fund balance of $786,162, which is above the 15% of reserves, $652,036, but less than the 30%, which would be about 1.3 million. That's the one I had questions on, significantly higher.
Well, did you ever get, you and I talked about that valuation report on that. Did you ever get an answer on that? I mean,
Yes, I
the
did.
roll was so high and yet we didn't get limited.
I asked Carrie Johnson that question, and she said if you lower it, depending on what legislation does and what your valuation does, it could hurt you the next year.
But my question is back to why our valuation was so high in rural, but we had no limitation on it.
Well, the growth wasn't over the limit. If you look over in the, I don't have that.
Percentage wise, it didn't it?
No, not the
Remember that day
growth.
that you and I talked about that?
Yeah, I did, but the growth didn't go over the limit. It was just the percentage that we were able to increase was over that 3% or whatever, but the actual growth and valuation didn't increase over the limit. And I don't know if any of you have that sheet anymore where I highlighted
Yeah.
it had the levies and then you highlighted, like, I think you had it in your
I
workbook.
did. That's what I wanted again today. I don't have, I
That's just-
couldn't find it.
Oh,
The one where you highlighted them in pink or?
yeah,
Yeah, soft red.
but she did verify that it was correct,
There you
Gene.
go.
Here, this one right here.
So,
So she said that is right. yes.
correct, yes, she verified that.
I've got it here.
Well, I just look at this sheet here where we're gonna be taxing the rural an extra $750,000.
Yeah, but if you look at our ending fund balance, it's not like we're sitting
No, yeah.
too high, so, and I did do another detail on that, so I want to talk about that in a minute. But down below, I did the urban and the rural levy, so you can see based upon the numbers that are in there, the urban levy did go down, but the rural levy is going up. And you can see the difference in tax dollars. The urban levy is going to generate about $68,000 more in taxes, and the rural is $819,000. So I made some notes at the bottom that the above levies do not include moving any money from lost. Last year, we used $400,000 of loss to offset the supplemental levy. If you did that again, it would reduce the levy by approximately 21 cents. And then I also noted that the above levies include requests above 2.8% and adding staff. The other sheet I have is where we use properties to kind of see what the taxes would look like for that particular property. At the top, we have a house. Now this house's value went up, I think around $40,000. So last year, it obviously had a less of an assessed value, but this year the total assessed value on this parcel is $251,650. So after you factor in the rollback, the taxable value is $112,071. So their taxable value went up about $6,000, but if we kept what we have, their taxes would decrease by $2 on the county side. A 40-acre tract of land, this would be like pertain to the rural levy. So this particular parcel is 40 acres. Last year, it had an assessed value of $64,870. This year, it has a taxable or assessed value of $81,100. So you can see that went up significantly. But then if you look at the rollback, last year they paid taxes on $47,912. And this year they're only paying taxes on $48,206. So even though their assessed value went up significantly, the taxable didn't go up crazy. And then again, proposed levies, that would be an increase of about $24 per 40 acres. Let's see here, commercial, this particular parcel, we started off at $1 million. And obviously the value goes up. So this year, the assessed value is about 1.1. Taxable value is $984,279. With the proposed levy, they're actually going to see a decrease of $58. And then down below, you can see what the 26 taxes were and what the 27 is proposed to be. And that's an increase of $819,523. Almost all of that coming from the rural. So I guess you as a board will need to decide what you want to do with that rural levy. Do you want to leave it at the maximum and have that big of an increase for rural properties? Or do you want to maybe consider lowering it slightly so we don't get stung next year? And then maybe supplement the supplemental fund like we did the year
How much
before.
do we haven't lost
About 1.9,
1.6.
1.6.
right now?
Yeah. We roughly get about $700,000 per year that goes in there.
Yeah.
And then
60,000 a month roughly.
Last year we took 400
Yep,
out of
yeah,
that,
so
right?
The year before was 300.
And then we've taken out all this, all the other stuff they keep. we
But does
took out
that
of-
go back to, we put that in supplemental?
we do that way, because right now we
I
put,
think-
go ahead.
Yeah, the only thing that limitation affects us is on our general basic and our rural service. The rest that does not affect, am I right?
Correct.
So if we're gonna do anything, we need to do it with general supplemental. And I don't know that rural services, that's a
Well, the thing is
coin, I think.
yeah, so supplemental fund, the nice thing about that is I know you guys have talked about this in the past. We get $700,000 that we put in lost every year, but the rural fund gets the same amount of money in their fund. So they're already getting an offset of their levy because it's supplemented with local option money. I think the most fair way to do it is to put it in supplemental because everybody's going to see a benefit because everybody pays supplemental. Not
Just that-
everybody pays rural.
I agree that, that rules. We need, or it's 751,000. More tax dollars this year. What's the difference? That drives me nuts.
Well, it's that they limited us on our levy the year before to $3.22, and now there's no limitation, so it's $3.95. And values, I mean, just looking at that 40-acre tract, the values have gone up. So, But you
But
can
if
see
we're-
what you need in
what you're looking at,
reserves.
You need the reserves though. I mean, we're gonna be falling right in the middle of that reserves basically.
Yeah, I mean, you could possibly lower, you know, if you want to do like $100,000 less, you could probably do that. But, yeah,
If you knew what they were gonna do next year.
right.
I mean, they've got us in a point where you gotta play games with them and make. If we overcorrect that rule, we could hurt ourselves for next year.
Exactly, I
I
agree.
mean, that's the problem.
part, exactly.
Well, what would happen, I think, if you did do that, you'd probably have a new levy and you'd be levying out of rural supplemental, which we've never done since I've worked
We've
here.
never done a rule supplemental, not that I can remember.
But it is available, just like general supplemental is to other expenditures. There's only certain things that can come out of supplemental, but it would be available to use, which would not help the taxpayers at all anyway. So. But I wanted you guys to have this information since you're going to be making some decisions on
I
departmental
have no
budget.
problem using local option to wipe out the general supplemental. And
So then if you did that overall, all county taxpayers, the total ask would be $400,000 less than. So, I mean, everybody's going to see some relief by doing that.
But this rural one's really got me buffaloed.
How do we get that down on they're increased $24 on the 40 track? Do we get that down then through I'm just asking, how do we get that down then?
Well, that would go down with the general supplemental.
Okay, that's why I'm asking.
It would a little,
Would be 21 cents, wouldn't it be on everybody?
yeah. Well, it'd be really, if you wanted to round up, you could say 22 cents per thousand for everybody. Which, I mean, is a lot of money, but
It offset at 22,000 a rural.
22 cents.
22 cents.
Yeah.
Because that supplemental carries over into the rural fund. So that would be one way to do it, but
So the supplemental goes in.
and I'm not so sure we don't. Hate to say gamble, but let's lower that asking on rural service a little bit. Cause I think that's gonna be hard roll to fight.
Yeah, I mean, if you lowered it to collect $100,000 less, your reserves would be pretty close to that 650, where you needed to be.
For 15%.
For 15%, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
These reserves do include the reduction in the health insurance ask as well.
So that's in here already.
Yeah, I did update that because I wanted to, and it honestly was not that. It didn't make a huge difference.
Could you run us another one with, let's say we wipe out general supplemental and then take $100,000 less ask in rural and see what that comes up with?
Okay.
I mean, I don't,
And it'll tell us what to take out of our local option sales tax money to.
take that out to offset supplemental, so that'd be zero. So that 21 or 22 cents would also carry over to rural and then put in there, ask 100,000 less out of rural and see what would come up with. Because I think that I mean, it shows like we could use it, but at the same time, I think we're not reducing the taxes on the rural. And
I'd like to see redaction.
and I don't think we're gonna get it down to zero, because if we do, we could be setting ourselves up for failure next year.
Sure, I get it.
Well, and they're
So we
increased.
gotta play, they're making us play games.
Yes, they are.
Well, and the properties have increased.
Yeah,
You can see that on the other sheet. So
they have, but well, it's not, I won't want to get a long debate on.
No, I think we need to look at it though, because
And because I think some of them are struggling out there on that rural.
And you also said this was worst case scenario, right? This is if we
It
get
is.
everybody to ask.
correct. That way you guys could see what it would look like.
Well, just run those two scenarios, put
Okay.
that on a new sheet, just.
Okay.
You're talking, everybody's asked, Steph, you're talking about the people who've asked for 5%, 6%. Okay, okay.
Yeah, or they
That's on
ask
there?
for,
What about, is that within?
Okay, that's a good one. That's good to know.
Insurance too, though?
the fund balances do not include the insurance increase.
Yeah.
But it really only amounted to about $59,000 in the general and like 30 and, or 13 in rural. So it wasn't a huge significant number, but it helps. Yeah.
Absolutely.
But you have that figured in here, right?
I have it figured in the fund balance and the levies. I tried to estimate what that would be. So it's very, very close.
You said you didn't put nonprofits in here?
The
Last year?
nonprofits are in there based on last year's funding.
Okay.
So if they ask for more, I
Maybe that's
didn't
not in
include
there.
that. I guess I didn't include that.
And it's not a lot of money, but I'm just curious.
Ones that don't come out.
Yeah,
Not,
yeah.
New
nonprofits,
opportunities, huh?
most of the nonprofits come out of loss,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Well, there's some that are
About half
mandatory,
of
new
them. Yes.
opportunities,
Yeah.
Region 12.
Libraries,
What,
Yeah.
what are we taking them out of?
they come out.
They come out of the
Yeah.
general fund and I believe the libraries do come out of the rural fund, but
I think we switched that last year, didn't we? Maybe.
No, we've been doing that.
Have we?
All right.
so yeah, I can do a new spreadsheet and get that sent to you guys.
Thank you.
From there though, what do we, when do we?
Well, I think then that we have to. First of all, we have to do, some point in time, we're gonna have to have a discussion on comparables on our elected officials.
Yep.
Because we have to do that by law.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're gonna have to sit down and decide. Who if and anybody gets any other additional requests. Or if there's anything we need to,
Yep.
look at there.
Yep.
So how many? Who else has got to come in for the budget yet?
I think we're done.
We're all, everybody's in.
What about,
Libraries haven't been here, though, did
I'm only including departments.
and did we have,
Okay,
We
but
do ambulance, yeah.
what about this
No,
year?
they've been
Internet
here.
opportunities.
No, never mind.
They're not gonna come.
They're not.
Union negotiations.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
That's what she said.
I know that's kind of a gray area as far as payment.
Everybody's presented.
Yeah, there's a couple nonprofits that haven't been here. The libraries are
what about
generally here.
DHS?
They gave me theirs and there was no change,
No change.
no change.
I'm trying to think of,
And new opportunities in Region 12 aren't gonna come, correct?
Correct. They said they would if you needed to, but
oh, okay.
I thought that they're,
You just sent us that stuff.
yeah.
And those are the only two that,
Well, we haven't heard from the libraries yet, and I haven't heard from the food pantry or the, I'm not sure if it's the food pantry,
oh, community concern.
yeah. But they received the same information and there, I think there's, the Manning daycare is another one. But they all got the information just like everybody else, so, if they're listening, I encourage them to get a hold of me to get on the agenda, but
Somebody's getting a text right now.
Is there a microphone on? Can they even hear?
I believe mine is.
Good job.
Any other questions for Courtney?
I got a question for you guys. We talked, we're gonna have a meeting on the 19th and the 20th. The 19th will be just a regular meeting and then the 20th will be where we kind of make some hard decisions and then we'll have more concrete numbers. Is that correct?
Somebody's got some vacation,
Plan was gonna be,
unplanned vacation. That's-
yeah, we can't do it on the 19th. Martin Luther King Day too.
That's not,
Yeah,
that's not a holiday.
That's what we got planned.
So the 20th will be more like a budget work session.
At
Okay,
9 AM, right? That's what I have wrote down.
both at 9?
That'll be non-union, non-elected, salaries, elected, hopefully a union,
Yes.
Okay, both at 9 o'clock.
additional asks.
They'll go through all that stuff. That's. Okay. Anything else, Courtney, right now?
Not that I can think of.
Okay, next we have is committee reports.
Should be relatively
Yeah,
simple. 'cause
I'll go real quick.
It'll go.
Last week I did reply to an email that all of us got about funding. I did go down to Gary Dale's, Colonel, pinning this week. I'm gonna go out to Roads on Thursday and Friday, look at the claims. And noon on Friday also is secondary roads luncheon.
All I have this week is our quarterly opioid meeting. We've got I think one request I've heard so far, maybe two. And that's our quarterly meeting, and then we'll probably approve the way it sounds, the funding for our Tony Huffman opioid speaker. We're gonna approve the funding for that.
Okay, I can go next. Last week after Friday, I just went and delivered my business retention reviews back to this CCGP that I had done, the three I had done. And then today I am going to finally do the review of the CEO on new opportunities. And I have to meet Arcadia Council, invited me to come to their meeting tonight, to talk about particularly the paving projects, I think. And then also tomorrow we have a CCGP meeting.
You add that to mine, Courtney. I see we just got an email on that one.
I'm gonna get your sheet, so.
Okay, thank you.
And there's one time I beat you to the
There
email.
you go.
On Thursday's Highway 30 Coalition. And that's my week for so far.
For this week, I have newspaper radio and I will be out of office for the rest of the week.
Don't you get exhausted doing 2 meetings in a row, Steph?
To do what I
You're
have
the
to do to
backbone.
carry the weight of this board.
You're the backbone. Feels like
All
a
right,
BG.
all right,
term.
all right, kids.
Nothing to report on. Hang up about Gene doing all the newspaper radio.
Mike, do you have anything?
Yeah, just putting out fires with Zach's customers.
I'll make a
Advice?
motion to adjourn.
Wait a minute. Courtney, anything? What's on?
Next week, we have Bill Day, and then it was recommended we put back on the agenda who the supervisors department to
Okay.
make it formal that we're voting on it.
All right. Any comments from those in attendance? If not, motion to adjourn,
So moved.
I didn't-
then moved in second.